The Callisto Protocol just got an update, the Contagion mode, bringing a new ultimate way to experience horror, 14 different new death animations and a new skin. And the only way I can describe my experience so far is with this.
Man, that stinks.
Now listen, I like the new skin, the Watchtower one, and I also like the previous one, the other way. My only concern is, why is it that every single time they include a new skin, it is just the previous one in a different color? I don't get it. They made the game, they could just make something so unique and so different, but every single time there's a new skin, it felt like you already seen it. That's just... Anyway, it doesn't look bad, I just feel like it is a bit lazy. Okay, now let's actually talk about the Contagion mode. What is it? Basically, it is hardcore mode, except you can't save and there is no checkpoint. I mean, there are checkpoints, but just in between chapters. It means that whenever you die, you will be brought back at the beginning of the chapter you just started. There is no saves. It's not permadeath, because you can still come back to the beginning of the chapter. What makes this hard is the fact that to this day, they still can't allow you to skip the cutscenes. They want you to play the game and to die, to restart the whole chapter. I actually tried it. I died at the first robot in the first chapter just to see how far I'll be brought back. I got brought back to the very beginning and I had to rewatch the same cutscene over again. Now let me ask you a question here. Let me ask you, what do you think is the hardest thing to put in the game? A new game mode? No. New game plus? New skin? Or just one single toggle to skip the cutscenes? I'm no developer, I gotta be honest. If I was to choose, I would say that just giving people the ability to skip the cutscenes, especially if you make them die and come back all the way back, I think at the very least, if you respect your players, you will do that for them. They don't care. And I've been saying that. I was afraid, I was afraid they would do that. I thought there is no way they're going to, to go through with it. But they're proving me right. I wanted to be wrong, but hey, I think honestly, I salute people who actually want to beat this game on, people who beat the game on New Game Plus, on Hardcore, and now in Contagion mode. I really respect you because you have the mental health. You have that kind of mental health that I wish I would get one day, because I cannot get through this. I just played 2 chapters. I brought myself for you guys so that I could give you some content about my experience. I played 2 chapters and I can't fathom going further because there is no point. It's the same game. There is absolutely nothing new. They said 14 new ways to die. Whatever. Honestly, whatever. And now they want you to just... And you still can't listen to audio logs while moving. This is crazy. Honestly, I don't think they care. I really don't think they care, which is troubling, because why would you make a game and then not care about the player base or just whatever? People are saying they're keeping the game alive. Honestly, in my opinion, New Game Plus, Hardcore mode, Contagion modes, all those things should have been included in the base game at launch. All those things are incremental. They don't change anything. It's the same damn game every single time. They did nothing new. They absolutely didn't. All they did is add some features which should have been included in the game in the first place. So of course I was bored. I was so bored doing the cutscenes. I was just, spending some time on Twitter. And I stumbled upon a tweet which said that this game's budget was $161 million. You heard that right. $161 million. So of course I was shocked. I was surprised, and I needed to investigate because there was just no way this game right here cost that much. And so that you understand just how crazy it is, Horizon Forbidden West cost $117 million. And say whatever you want about Horizon, I agree that the game has no soul, but goddamn does the game look good and plays super well. In my opinion, it's the best looking game of 2022, Horizon Forbidden West. It's just, you can tell right? You can tell that game costs money. Even if 170 is still a lot of money, you can tell, I can feel where that money go. When it comes to the Callisto Protocol, which cost almost 50,000, I mean 50 million more than Horizon, you just have to guess where the money go. Now listen, this isn't even the craziest part. The craziest part is the fact that the Callisto Protocol says at $70, which is like AAA price tag. Except it doesn't deliver when it comes to the AAA experience, whatever that means. When it comes to modern gaming, I really don't know what AAA actually means, except just making your game as expensive as possible, and that's it. Because this is probably the shortest AAA game I've ever played after The Order 1886. Those two are probably equal. I mean, they're probably equal when it comes to length. And I actually tried it. I actually investigated because I was committed. I'm no coffee zeta, but I was intrigued. 160 million. That's a lot of money. Where did it go? It turns out that from start to finish, it will take you 7 hours to beat this game. 7 hours. Right? That's decent, right? I don't know, but for me personally, I feel like I'm going to expect more from a AAA game than 7 hours. But that's not the craziest part, because the craziest part is the cutscenes alone take 2 hours. So the time you actually spend playing the game is 5 hours, give or take 5 hours. That's crazy. That's crazy. And again, it gets worse. Take into account every single time you have to shimmy, or just spend 15 seconds opening one door, or just try to crawl for 30 seconds. I just wish I was just making things up, but it gets to a point where it becomes obnoxious, because every single time you have to shimmy, you already know it's going to take a chunk of your time. So let's just assume that all this crawling, opening doors and shimmying, it takes 30 minutes, right? You end up with a game which length is 4 hours and 30 minutes. $160 million for a AAA experience which lasts 4 hours and 30 minutes. And that, my friend, is why they can't make the cutscenes skippable. Because when the moment they do that, people are going to realize, wait, that game is short as fuck. And yes, it is. Yes, it absolutely is the shortest AAA game probably to date. This is crazy. This is actually crazy. 4 hours. Like, listen, if you just walk up to people and actually ask them, are you willing to pay $17 for, a 5 hours long game? I've paid $10, $20 for indie games and got like 50 or 100 hours of just fun. And this game is way more than that. The budget is colossal and the experience is nowhere near the price tag. Like, this is crazy. And now I know people are going to try to give them some slack, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to always be super harsh and super critical of AAA games, because this is not the gaming experience I grew up with. This isn't. Not giving people... Listen, I played the Resident Evil Remake demo, and that demo has more content than Callisto Protocol. The whole game. Like, that single demo has more fun than the whole game. Just think about it. The game isn't even out. It's going to give you the ability to skip the cutscenes. Because, listen, the devs at Capcom, they're confident in the ability of their game to be fun. They don't have to rely on some cheap, cutscenes. They don't look good in the Callisto Protocol, but yeah, if I had to look at them 10 times in a row, you can bet they're not going to look as good as the first time I watched them. You can bet. So, Resident Evil doesn't need to rely on unskippable cutscenes for the game to be good or for the game to be long. No, they're going to give you right off the bat the ability to skip the cutscenes. And you won't skip them. You want to know why? Because you want to watch them. Because you want to. Not because you're compelled to. And I know some people are going to try to defend this. I know some people are going to go out of their way to give the devs some slack. And to those people, I just have one thing to say: you are part of the problem. Whenever you don't condone those practices, you are part of the problem. Nowadays, buying a game, especially a AAA game, is a gamble. You never know what you're going to get. Don't tell me that the games are working on skippable cutscenes, because they're not. If they wanted to, if it was a priority, you can bet it would have been the very first thing on their list. But it is not, because your experience is not what matters. It's just the fact that you buy the game. You're going to buy the game at $17, and then you're going to buy the season pass at $30. So basically, you spent $100 on this game. So don't tell me what my experience with the game should be. If I'm unhappy, I'm going to voice my concerns. There's nothing you can do about it. And I just wish I was just that one person on earth unhappy with the way this game turned out to be. But on PlayStation, as far as I'm concerned, 43% of players beat the game on any difficulty, which is amazing, until you remember that the game wasn't long to begin with. But okay, you know what? It is impressive, nonetheless. But can you guess how many people actually came back to the game once New Game Plus dropped? Come on, take a guess. Take a guess. 2%. Not even 1/10 of them returned, because to be fair, there was nothing, absolutely nothing to come back to. $160 million, and they couldn't find a way to make a proper New Game Plus mode. Just a copy paste of the same playthrough you had the first time, and that's it. Trust me when I tell you that nobody is going to care about this game when they end up adding the very basic features you should have launched with. And the Callisto Protocol isn't going to be that underrated gem people will look back to in 5 to 4 years and go, wow, that was just underrated. Nah. It ain't gonna happen. Because the game has no soul, no identity. It is a turn-based action game disguised as a survival horror one. And the thing is, here's the thing. The part which actually pisses me off the most is that the Callisto Protocol isn't the only glorified AAA game which earned that title thanks to its price tag. It seems to be a rampant plague in the gaming industry right now. AAA games just suck and have no soul. Often we set ourselves up for disappointment, since 8 times out of 10, big games just end up being an utter letdown. Whether it is your generic open world Witcher 3 copycat or a Dead Space wannabe, making terrible use of its linearity. The AAA industry has become a joke as of right now, and we players are the ones who suffer the most. We love games, we want games, and we love getting invested in them. Unfortunately for us gamers, modern gaming has become a gamble. You don't know what you're going to get the moment you purchase a game. And because demos are no longer a thing, we have no proper way to know exactly what we are getting ourselves into. Games nowadays launch in a broken state, with the promise to improve the performance and experience in the future. Maybe. Emphasis on the maybe, because it may or may not happen. But hey, they hope you will just hope it will come one day. You know what? Maybe the greatest era of gaming is behind us. I think this may be something I need to accept, that AAA games are just going to suck. New IPs are going to be soulless, and it's fine. If it isn't just a big, very big, respectable studio, those games are going to suck. And even then, there is no guarantee that those AAA studios are not going to fuck it up by trying to just, focus on the money part, right? It's all about the money part. It's not about the player experience anymore. Back in my day, I'm going to sound old, but listen, back in my day, game used to release in a complete state. You just get to the store, get the game, and go home. You would never, ever need to go online to update your game, because internet wasn't a thing. It was a thing, but only if you were, I'll say, privileged. So you would just get the game and play it for years without ever updating it. How many games are like that nowadays? Tell me, just how many games can you just buy and just play without having a game-breaking bug every so often? That's my issue. Why are we walking backwards? Nowadays, you get a game, it's going to be like, oh, you get stutters the moment you get the game, and you have to wait a week to play the game, and then you play it's just shit. I had to wait 2 weeks for shit. Thank you. So no, I'm never going to go soft on those studios. And you know what? Just go play indie games. Indie games are so much better. They are made by people who care, people who have heart, soul. And whenever people who have soul make a game, the game has a soul too. And all those games are amazing. Amazing. Whether it has... You know what? We're going to talk about it later. This video is just about the Callisto Protocol and how disappointing it keeps being. I don't know how they keep making it even more disappointing than it already is, but they did. But hey, let me know what you think about this whole thing. I'm Giso, and yeah, gaming it sucks. It does suck. But hey, we have no choice, do we?